I'm hoping so bad that Nakaba doesn't have this dragon get defeated by Howzer. Like, I don't have any issues with Howzer, but this is like the first actual dragon that Nakaba has really done. I remember like was it the Tyrant dragons, but they weren't really kind of like shown in the same way as this guy. Like this guy's actually out and active, not the same thing. But the chapter itself, pretty solid. I like the stuff with Percival was going about how I wanted. Like that was the plus to me of this right here. Like the chapter overall, pretty solid. Like just seeing Percival not being able to handle this dragon relatively at all made me very happy because Percival's obviously like the main character. We're still relatively early in the series. So this is like chapter 30, so like we're starting to move into a little bit further territory, but we haven't gotten to like the first major arc. So I guess like it doesn't have to be like major. It doesn't be some big climax of like years of build up. It could just be a normal like the first serious arc of the series because we've gotten like lots of little mini arcs. I would like to have like an actual like set plot one where like a main antagonist that Percival has to end up getting in a battle and defeat. Especially like I would love to see what Nakaba is gonna do with Percival in like a 1v1 match where Percival is fighting somebody that is about equal to him and they're just maybe like equal to like a little bit stronger than him, and you have more of that regular boss fight scenario. Just to see how Percival really handles that, because we've really only seen him otherwise in scenarios where he's dominating his opponent or he's getting dominated. Like he just has nothing to do with like Ironside or this dragon. But with the dragon, I was just happy to see that he couldn't really do anything with it because like besides Ironsides, there wasn't really anybody that was doing that for Percival, because like he's been unlocking new aspects of his powers and his magic, and obviously having the magic tools and stuff that he's got on the artifacts. They like the reveals and the way that they've been kind of like developing, it makes sense why you'd want to have a good first displays of these things. I kind of wish Nakaba spaced them out a little bit more, but if he wants to get as much out of the way early as possible, I'm fine with that as well. But Percival's trying to fight this dragon, and it's not really doing anything. You have Nonsense and Taizo, and they're dealing with the baby dragon, still trying to figure out what to do with it. And like it's not even strong enough to eat, so Nonsense just turns to like his whole medicine into a mist to inhale it. There was like a weird moment between Sin and Howzer, and Sin is just like staring at him. He's like, "Oh, you're a pathetic disgrace of a Holy Knight captain." And I'm wondering, like, is there gonna be something that ends up like tying Sin, maybe not the same way like directly to Howzer, but something to like the Holy Knights? Like the whole mystery on who Sin is definitely one that I don't have like a lot of stock into right now within the series, because like, is Sin gonna be a brand new character, or is Sin gonna reveal to be an older character that that is gonna be like a big shocker that is like turned into this fox? Who knows? Still like a bit of a mystery. But Howzer is like, oh, this fox talks, and I'm just like, I feel like I wouldn't really be that surprised. But it's not even that weird, because it'd be like, oh, it's a magic animal. Like, there's magic and stuff. You have all these different races. Like, you've met Hawk before, a talking pig. So I feel like it wouldn't be that shocking meeting, like, another talking animal. I'd just be like, oh, shit. Like, if I knew a talking animal and, was in a magic world, and then, like, another animal just came up and started talking to me, I'd just say, oh, damn, I didn't know you guys could, you could also talk. I don't think I'd be that, like, astonished as, like, Howzer. Granted, he's still a little buzzed, so I won't hold too much over him. But, he's getting grilled. Sin was just pretty much, giving him the business, telling him, like, you're supposed to be actually, like, a big deal, and you're down here locked up, not doing anything to help and not doing anything useful. And even saying, like, oh, that dragon handle that you got, like, he's like, oh, yeah, that thing you thought Donnie stole, actually, he protected it and protected a town from, from a person who was trying to use it and kill a bunch of people. I want to know, though, if, like, is it going to be set for Arthur's Knights to be called Chaos Knights? Because we have Holy Knights. But, like, are the Holy Knights going to stay as, like, things serve Leonis? Or is, like, the whole Chaos Knight going to become more tied to, way more tied to stuff with Arthur? Because it would make more sense. And it's like, they're both going to have factions with groups called the Holy Knights. I guess it's not that bad, but it'd be a little weird. I'd be like, Arthur, just give your own name. And they even gave him a bit of a name in this chapter. Like, since saying, the Knight of Chaos. unless that's just supposed to be Ironside. I don't know. They're just like out there fighting the dragon, trying to do whatever they can, move around it, and like Percival's just flying. Like he's not really doing any damage. Like we see him throwing his chibi Percivals, not doing anything. They're just trying to dodge like these dragon breaths and do everything they can. There's a part that was very intriguing when Sin was saying how that kid with the helmet is on a secret mission from the king of Leonis. So it's like that's one that would obviously mean that Meliodas is going to know about is going to know about the Knights of the Apocalypse. I mean, granted, his son is definitely one of them, so like he should know to a degree, I would assume. But like, what's the whole bit about saying like, oh, he's like that boy is on a mission from? Is Sin just saying that, or is that just a plot piece that has not been fully revealed, and this was just the first crumb of it? That's definitely a weird little bit to throw in there. But it's like explaining like Percival is one of the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse, people from the prophecy. Percival just goes for like a big hand slap on the dragon, does absolutely nothing. The dragon just swipes back, and this was like one of the reasons I really want to see Percival in like an actual fight. Like somebody who is around Percival's level, because he like swats at him, and I would assume anybody at Percival's level that he's gonna run into is also gonna have skill and experience on top of whatever their powers and abilities and magics are, because like Percival's fighting style is really super straightforward and really basic right now, because he's really just doing energy hand slaps and like energy sword slashes and like throwing his little chibi Percivals. He doesn't have any of the technique that I feel like any other big character, like even around Percival's level, is gonna have no problem kind of dispensing, as we know Bond's son can fight. We know, I feel like it'd be really weird if Tristan can't fight, Meliodas' son. It'd be really weird if he couldn't. The last one is obviously a mystery, but I'd be really surprised if any of them were as inexperienced and kind of like kept up in the world, or kept up out of the world as Percival was. But even a part where I was actually wondering if Nakaba ended up giving him another power. There's a part where he ends up smacking him down, because like, you have you have Howzer get up, and he's like saying nonsense, to help him get all the alcohol of his body, obviously queuing him up for his whole debut in the fight. Percival's throwing his little mini chibi Percivals. They do absolutely 0 damage whatsoever. They're just punching, not even scratching. The dragon doesn't even look like he's feeling it all. But the dragon goes in, like, brings his hand back, slams a claw down at Percival, and I was wondering if that was going to be another Percival hero-type magic power, because it was revealed to be a copy, but then it's like, oh yeah, what's the guy, Edlin or Eldin or whatever his name is, he can make little illusions like that. So it's like, oh, okay, that was his thing. I was just like, don't give Percival any more things right now. He doesn't need any more power unlocks like this early on. He's good. Like, we just need to leave him how he is at the moment, and later on in the series, he can work towards getting some more upgrades and more forms and stuff. Well, I guess he doesn't have a form yet, but getting one at some point in time. But while they're doing their thing, they're just running from the dragon. They can't do anything against him, and Howzer ends up walking out, and he has a pretty cool entrance. He just makes this big like hurricane around him, this big gust of wind, and you have all this debris flying around, and then his lance comes in, he just grabs a hold of it and keeps walking up to the dragon. And they're like, oh, saying like, oh, what's he doing? They're like, oh, Howzer's you gotta run. And Donnie's like, no, he's gonna be fine. I will say, I do not want I keep saying Donnie by mistake. I do not want Howzer to defeat this dragon. I'm still really hoping that this dragon is kind of my best case scenario for this right now is that Howzer and the dragon are around equal to each other, and they're able to heal up the baby dragon and give the baby dragon back, and then the dragon could be kind of like chilled out and cool. Because like this is an ancient dragon. Like, this is gonna be unfortunate if Howzer can already defeat this, because like Howzer is definitely way stronger than your average person in the series. But it's like, think of like where like bigger people sit in comparison to him. Like, that would mean like relatively any actual boss level characters, any of the Sins or anybody relatively adjacent to them would no diff this dragon. Like if Meliodas showed up, sure, but that's Meliodas, he's a former main character. But say if like King or any of them showed up, I hope it wouldn't just be like they no diff it. It'd be like a decent, like a little bit of effort, Like, it's very clear that they would win, but they had to kind of they weren't just like fighting this thing without even paying attention. They had to put in at least a little bit of effort. Whereas like if Howzer can just defeat this dude, then like she's gonna be nothing to relatively anybody that's of mentionable name from, you know, pre-Four Nights, like back in 796. Anybody who's like really worth mentioning would run over this guy like it was nothing. And I hope that this dragon would at least give a little bit of fight, because it's not a random dragon, it's an ancient dragon. So it's obviously very old and very, you know, should have a high standing of power as a dragon that old and whatnot. But it's like just doing its thing, trying to attack. Howzer's blocking its attack using Rising Tornado to throw like its Dragon Breath straight up in the sky, and then uses this attack, was it Whirl Shock, and just pretty much pushes it back. It doesn't look like the dragon is really taking any damage yet, but Howzer doesn't look like he's really trying much yet. It looks like he's just kind of getting, you know, pretty much stretched out and going in combat. So, pretty fast re-chapter, pretty solid though. I really want to see where this goes, and how this whole thing in Cant is really gonna end up leading to, and what's it gonna do for the opening of the next story arc. Is Howzer gonna end up taking them to Leonis now? Maybe, and then like they'll go straight to Meliodas, because if you have the captain of the Holy Knights, I imagine it'd be really easy to get an audience with the king. But anyway, other than that though, comment below, thumbs up the video, but friend the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.